All right, so for 2.3, we have, the drip marketing started for Jade and Firefly. But now, with 2.2 coming out, people data mined, obviously, as they do best. So let's go over their kits real quick. So we're going to start off with the character that has to at least once say Ada Ada, the MILF, Jade. She is, 5-star quantum erudition character. Her basic attack is a blast attack. Hey, love to hear it. Her basic attack is a blast attack, which is really cool. I'm pretty sure she's the first character to have that, like just in their standard, like no enhanced basics or whatever. And then her skill, so she marks an ally with debt collector. She makes them a debt collector, increases their speed by just a flat 30, which is crazy, for 3 turns. After debt collector attacks, deal 1 instance of additional quantum damage equal to 20% of Jade's attack to each enemy hit, and then it consumes HP of the debt collector. If Jade becomes the debt collector, she doesn't gain the speed and she doesn't consume HP on attacks. When the debt collector is on the field, she cannot use her skill, and at the start of every turn, it reduces the duration by 1. Very interesting. So she's like, yeah, exactly, dude. Pay your taxes. It's just that easy, guys. So she's like a pseudo harmony erudition character because she's gonna buff an ally, and then she's going to, blast attack. This is a different type of buffing. You're getting ahead of me, sir. You're getting ahead of me, sir, but you were not wrong. Her ultimate gives quantum damage, enhances follow-up attacks from her talent, and increases it by a large amount. Her talent: after Jade or an ally that had become debt collector attacks, she gains 1 stack of charge for each enemy attacked. When the charge reaches 8, consume 8 charges and launch a follow-up attack. So she is a follow-up character, pretty freaking awesome. Dealing quantum damage, and it doesn't generate charge. The follow-up attack does not fuel into itself. Unfortunate, but that is fair. She gets 5 stacks of pawned assets when launching her talent's follow-up attack. And then she gains crit damage for each stack of pawned asset, and that stacks up to 50 times. So she gets a bunch of crit damage. So essentially you're gonna wanna obviously give her some crit damage, but focus on attack and crit rate, it seems like. And then her technique inflicts the enemies in an area with blind fealty for 10 seconds, will not attack allies, and when entering battle, all enemies with blind fealty will enter combat simultaneously, deals quantum damage equal to 50% of her attack, and she gains 15 stacks of pawned asset. So she is a sub DPS through and through. Again, as art pre-established, great synergy with Blade. So there's that, like, spice. She definitely feels like she's going to excel a lot in pure fiction. So she would also be very good with like Himiko, Herta, those types of characters as well. So that is something she can be really good about. And then her bonus abilities, her Ascension 1 trait, so her A1, each pawned asset stack that she has increases her attack by 0.5%. So she's not only going to buff her crit damage, she's going to be buffing her attack as well. Obviously not as much. But and then her A2, when the battle starts, she advances her actions by 50%. That is going to be a thing now. Characters are going to be able to make themselves go again. So their power, they're doing the Silver Wolf thing where they're just making that character not as necessary and not as dependent. So like now DPSs are able to implant weakness of their like element into the enemy. And now characters like Robin, now Jade, so far are being able to advance their actions on their own. So they're slowly kind of making it so you don't have to run Bronya in team comps, which is good, because again, like they're kind of nerfing hypercare, which I think is for the better. But that's a video for another day, because I do want to talk about HSR meta. For her A3, when the enemy target enters combat, she gains 1 stack of pawned asset. When deck collector allies turn starts, she gains 3 stacks. So this kind of to me reads goes ham in Pure Fiction even more. So like this is, again, she's direct follow-up attack support for Pure Fiction, which is really cool, because my understanding, the new endgame content that's coming out is going to be hunt focused. So you're going to have like destruction, nihility, and memory of chaos. You're going to have erudition, destruction, and nihility for Pure Fiction. And I assume in this new endgame content, it's going to be hunt, destruction, nihility. Just a prediction, but that's how it feels. So her stat bonuses, you know, quantum damage, attack percent, and effect res. I'm surprised they don't give her any crit rate, but that also makes sense, because, you know, you're going to have to put some effort into building. So then this is the trace layout. For Eidolons, E1, follow-up attack damage from her talent increases by 20%, and every time she gets charged, she additionally gains an additional stack of charge. So she gains 2 stacks every time, which is really cool, because, you know, that 8 stacks is, oh, you have to hit 8 enemies. Well, now you have to hit 4, which is pretty easy with like erudition focused teams. But even then, like blast attacks is still like you're gaining 6 stacks for blast. And then her E2 is when she has 15 stacks of pawned asset, it increases her crit rate by 18%, which is really cool, because it helps mitigate that like amount of crit rate you have to do. So, you know, making building a little easier. Her E4, we're going to skip the E3 and 5 because we all know it's just stat buffs. When using the ultimate, Jade's damage ignores 12% of the enemy's defense, lasting for 3 turns. E6, we're gonna get back to this. For her E6, it's gonna be when deck collector allies on the field, it increases her res pen for quantum by 20. And she herself also gains the deck collector state. That is actually really fucking cool. That's peak. That is pretty peak. So gear stats, you know, crit rate, that makes sense because how much crit damage she gets in her kit. Attack percent also kind of makes sense. Quantum damage boost, you know, DPS stuff. Energy regen rope, pretty standard for most characters. And then these are her recommended sets. This makes sense. The Sigonia set, that's actually what I was planning to put on her, because I was going to use her for Pure Fiction when I saw that she was erudition. This makes sense as well, but it kind of seems like in a weird spot. I personally, oh, then Salsodo is a really good, like, more generic piece. But I personally think that the new follow-up attack set, this one right here, Soaring Valorous, would be better for her personally. but I mean, it's just my opinion. And then like for her relic, this one would be really good as well. But it depends on how reliably you can get her follow-up attack to go off and proc. So that's a big factor. And then, so now that we go over that and her kit and some like basic relic stuff, let's go over a Lycone. Awesome art. You know, you can tell by the art she is a mommy at heart, so I appreciate that. Yet hope is priceless. Increases crit rate by 16%. This is at S1. When in battle, every 20% crit damage that exceeds 120 increases the follow-up attack damage by 16%, stacking up to 4 times. That is actually really crazy. That is wild. Like, seriously. Battle starts or after the wearer uses their basic attack, enables the ultimate and follow-up attack to ignore 16% defense. This is crazy good Lycone. This is crazy good Lycone. That's awesome. I want it so bad. I mean, obviously it's not as based as Black Swan's Lycone, but I mean, just look at that. Just look at that art. It's perfect. But this is it for the going over their kits and their Lycones. If you liked it, leave a like, comment who you want to pull for between these two. I am trying really hard to not swipe and pull for both. But let me know who you guys plan on pulling for down below, and I will see you guys next time.